So I introduced value pricing, not value billing, brought to us by Ron Baker. And your
Sure.
experience, as same as mine, is that the best place for that value trade to happen is with business owners, because business
Right.
owners bring the complexity of building a business along with, if they have success, all the rest of the tax implications. So there's a great hairy furball of opportunity there for someone with your and Greg's training, uh,
Yep. Of
proactivity,
course.
whole attitude of the value transaction to do the best work. So I think that's where the industry is going. The individual tax return is going to become uh, not unlike the travel agent. Yeah, you're
Right.
probably too young to have ever received a pre-printed book of carbon copied airline tickets.
Yeah, I can't remember having that happen, so you're probably right. I'm not like
So,
I'm not young enough to be just like purely digital, but like I have had paper tickets in my life, but you're right. I don't know about the carbon copies.
well, but you had to go to the travel agent to get them.
Yeah, right, right.
So our friend Rob Nixon has said it, that the data is there for the W-2, 1098, 1099. That's all government data.
Sure.
It won't be long that the middle person there, the CPA that specializes in high volume tax returns, truly goes the way of the dodo bird or the travel agent. So
Right.
back to, you have discovered, and that's where you find business owners uh, are the best fit for your service. So
Yeah, no doubt.
what kind of value do you provide, and how do you quantify it for them in that initial conversation and then in the ongoing relationship?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's a lot that goes into it, right? I mean, I think value pricing is something that I was introduced to kind of at the beginning of this journey, right? So something always been very interested in. And for in our pricing model, it's always kind of there's been some level of it that's underpinned, how we price. Um, and I think where we can really speak to that value. I mean, there's like when people say advisory services, right? It's like some people are like, well, what does that even mean, right? It's kind of like this ethereal term that like probably has different meanings to different people. Um, how do we quantify the value exchange? I think the easiest, most low, like the lowest hanging fruit is, from a tax perspective is like, okay, we've been able to evaluate your situation. Like we feel confident that there are a lot of savings on the table, right? Like tens of thousands of dollars of savings on the table. So you juxtapose that to the price and there's a clear value, right? Like that is like the clearest way to value price in our context. So that kind of comes into our model is that every client that comes in, we require them to do some form of a tax plan at onboarding. So in the first month, they're doing a tax plan, and that is really at its highest level, essentially an audit of their scenario and what opportunities are there for them that we can capture in the short term and build them in a good position for the long term. And part of that is saying, hey, this is what your ROI is, right? Like these are the things that we found. We're going to save you $50,000, $100,000 by doing these strategies. So that is kind of and that's what we package that as a one-time investment at onboarding, right? So that's something that's a little bit easier to just value, like to purely value price. But what we found in an ongoing service relationship, like a subscription based kind of like it's harder to value price that at scale because there's a constant need to really generate high level value for a high level price. And that's where we've tried to really kind of, what we do is like we really try to value price kind of hybrid in our own type of way. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it, but to your point, kind of there's a portion of this world that's being commoditized, and there's a lot of technology that's coming out. So it's, some of the higher level things, need to be captured in the right way.
Captured in the right way, high level things. But before I hand the baton back to you, questions that came to my mind. One, I want to talk about your growth path, but
Hmm.
what size firm, what metric do you use to gauge whether, oh, this is going to be a great easy fit, and like income level of the owners where the tax benefits can be delivered, revenue size, stage of development? Because I understand you have a specialty with what's that tax strategy, that something about the small business.
Oh, for startups.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, like Section 1202, qualified small business stock for a
yeah.
lot of our tech startups are very interested in that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So in
So
terms of like
when
our
you
size, like, go ahead.
No, 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 no. You were getting ready to answer it. I apologize.
Yeah. So I think like for our size, like that's definitely one group, Tro, that we work with. You're kind of like your startup. We always say we have like three buckets that we work with, right? I think over time we'd like to be a little bit more niched, but I think the three buckets that we work with are kind of your, venture backed tech startups that are looking to raise capital, right? We do a lot of like back office work for them, a tax strategy. And then there's your digital based business. Um, so that could be a marketing agency. It could be content creators. It could be, really kind of B2B service based businesses. We say digital because like we're completely virtual, our firm. So, we just don't, our infrastructure doesn't align with like your kind of like Main Street, like retail type businesses. And then there's real estate investors, and kind of investors of all kinds. And there's just a lot of tax benefits in that group that we have a lot of domain experience in. So that's kind of a big vertical for us too. So if we're sticking to the businesses, we're generally playing in like the 2 million to 10 million or 2 million to 15 million in revenue. Like that's kind of where the vast majority of our clients are. If people are under that, there might not be as much value add, but I still think we can certainly help. But in that area, it's like where we can really, we think we can provide a tangible return on investment to them.
Got it. Got it. Uh, I think we've covered that pretty well. Could you share your growth journey? Because uh, did you just say, "Hey, let's go pitch clients and see what happens"? Did you bring a team with you? How did you build out? You know, maybe work backwards from where you are now, team size, infrastructures,
Yeah,
that
makes
kind of
sense.
thing, and then what did you start with?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're at a team of about 32 right now. So I think that we've probably grown, from a revenue perspective, between 20 and 30% year over year. Um, and the headcount, probably correlates to that to some degree. But so, we're at 32 now. I think, if I'm kind of going, with that type of consistent growth, we've added a lot of people, we've refined our delivery. Obviously, that's an ongoing thing, and we've refined who the clients that we're targeting are. When we started out, yeah, it was just kind of this idea. It's like, hey, let's value price this person because we can make a big impact. And we'll just kind of figure it out along the way, right? And we were taking in kind of whoever kind of came in the door. And I think that is, that's something that is not uncommon to, people that are starting out. Had a smaller team, and then really,
Yeah, yeah, the fog the mirror thing.
yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of lumps that you take along that way, but that's kind of what makes it, that's what makes it fun, and that's what makes makes the journey really great. And we've been able to to add team members, some great team members along the way that we're super thankful for.
That we had not discussed. That is
Yep.
probably the preeminent unspoken or not the old way. When I came out, it was pass the CPA exam, go to work for the big eight, work hard, become a partner, or spin
Hmm.
out and work in a commercial or private company. And it was a track.
Yep.
Talent now, finding talent now is hard. How are you guys doing it? How are you attracting talent, and where are you plugging them in? Where are the gaps you're finding that as you grow, what gaps are you finding? Oh, we need to
Yep.
gap fill in. And then how are you finding them?
Yeah, I mean it's a grind. I think that that's probably like the you talk to business owners across industries like that. It's a very very hard thing to do, and with a smaller business, it's even harder because it's such a the investment is a lot more impactful to a smaller business. But in terms of attracting people, it's kind of aligned with our marketing strategy to clients, Trail, right? Like we're very active on social media. We're
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
active, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. That's not just for client acquisition. It's for talent acquisition too. We want to attract, people that are like-minded to us, that want to be involved in something that's maybe a bit different. So that's a big part of it. So we do get a fair amount of traction on LinkedIn, especially for that type of thing. Um, so that's really kind of the best way that we've been able to do it. Of course, we do the traditional methods, like we've used recruiters in the past. We're grinding on Indeed. Obviously, we look for internal referrals, which are always the best. But I think a big part of our marketing strategy is kind of trying to attract that talent too.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And again, I hearken back to our friend Rob Nixon. I say our friend. Do you know who Rob Nixon is?
I actually don't, but he could be my friend, I suppose.
He's the Aussie guy that
Yep.
his pitch is I'm looking for growth-minded
Yep.
partners in firms. One, if it is a partnership, aligned and a million above in revenue. That's his niche.
Okay.
But he says talent is solvable. It's just a marketing issue. Client
Yeah.
acquisition is
I
solvable.
I
It's just a
I get it.
marketing issue. Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yep.
so now you trip another one. What are you doing around the generational issues?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's and why don't I add a layer to that is like we're a virtual remote firm. So like the seeing people and like getting to know them and that personal, maybe crossing some of those like generational lines is a lot more difficult, right? Because like you're just through a computer screen and you can't always discern what someone's intent is, or or it's harder to do. So those are challenges that we're facing, especially as you grow. They continually they multiply.
Right.
So
It's
constant.
not just it's not just multiply. It. Uh-oh. Where'd you go?
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Okay. No problem. Um, it's not just multiply. It's factorial.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, I mean, you and I, there are two communication channels.
Right.
Add one, it goes to eight, right? Or is it just six?
Right.
But now we go to
I don't even.
four. Now it's
I've heard this
24, I
example, but
think.
yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. I know. And you
Okay, so
add the
that's
layer
a
of a
whole nother
remote
issue. We could
virtual firm.
we could lining up issues.
Right, right.
Right,
No, you and you
right,
you
right.
you add the
Okay,
layer
so
of of,
let's
of
get
the.
back. Let's yeah.
Sorry, I think there's a bit of a lag here, Trill. I apologize.
No, no, no. It's part of this virtuality thing we're dealing with. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
I think we wrapped that one up pretty. I think we wrapped up that one pretty well. Let's go to some of the big fun case studies. Who you know, who where did you provide the most value, and uh, have you had any experience with beyond just hey, here's tax savings, here's your investment, isn't that an easy trade? How about ones where you actually transform the business, or you I'm using the phrase, pulled their fat from the fire, where you help them
Yeah.
either come out of a hole or miss it altogether. That's a big,
Yeah.
complicated. You can talk about that one forever.
Right. No, totally. I think, I think with some of the more rewarding ones that we've been a part of that like we could say would fall into that transformational bucket, are definitely ones that were clients from the beginning when we were part of their formation and them just starting out. And we've been with them the entire line until they've been acquired or, or they've had a major investor come in and kind of take over the company. Like seeing a business that you kind of were a part of starting in some form. Obviously, I'll credit to the business owners, but at least being kind of a part of that and seeing it go through that life cycle is a tremendously rewarding thing. And to know that we had an impact, not just from like a tax savings perspective, but from an advisory perspective, from back office support, really kind of helping their team grow and really just touching their business on multiple levels. And like it kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning, like my passion for really is to help businesses grow, to optimize them, to have them be humming along and be a part of that. And I think that's where that shines through the most is like seeing these companies go from end to end. It's been a really cool thing, and we're not this old company, so like we haven't had that many opportunities in 6 years to see that. And now there's been a handful that have been fortunate enough to kind of get to the finish line, so to speak, before they start the
But
next one, of
yeah,
course.
yeah. Give me. You talked about the nebulousness of the definition of advisory. What even is it? So give me a specific there. What was a piece of advice or a system of advisory, and what effect did it have? What did you actually say? You know what? We didn't make it happen, but without us, it wouldn't have happened as fast.
Sure. Yeah. So I think from a tax savings perspective, right? Like from a tax advisory perspective, one of those clients that we saw kind of go end to end, I think there was a lot of like iterations of how their entity was structured along the way, right? Like,
Mm.
they started off as just one person, they added another, how was their cash flow coming in? We were just constantly analyzing that and restructuring that business. We saved them like hundreds of thousands of dollars over the year because they blew up, and obviously the structure that we had scaled with their growth. So, and then they're just the way they were doing business, right? They had some international operations, and there are strategies around that saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think the big part of it though is that like we were able to be lockstep with them kind of throughout. Like so whenever they kind of like zigged and zagged, like we were right there with something from an advisory perspective to be able to deliver. And I think that's like the mark of a good relationship is that, right? Being able to identify like maybe I'm coming up with our definition of advisory trail, but like being able
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
identify what lies ahead for a client, right, in our domain that we can put in front of them, educate them on it, and then execute. I think like that's the biggest part of like what we try to do in our model is like you can give advisory, but a client doesn't want to hear, hey, this is an idea, like what do you think, like let me know, like have at it, right? You gotta be the execution partner with them, like you gotta get it done for them, or at least give them the tools to do it. And I think that's kind of what's allowed us to provide
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
value.
That makes a lot of sense. Not only did you provide the advice, but you provide the implementation and execution for them, or framework for them to deliver. Uh, hey, you can have this. You can put it in your marketing. You help them see around corners.
Right, exactly. And then you drive it home. Like you got to drive it home. Like they need to they need someone to hold their hand or do it for them, depending on, how high level it is, and then you need to show them the fruits of it, right? Like they're gonna probably forget about that you're doing that thing for them. You got to show them on the return, if it's on the return, or in a tax projection, to really see the actual cash that they are saving for doing something like that. So,
I'm
that's
I'm
something
hearing a
too that
lot
we've.
of yeah, I'm hearing a lot of your relationship and the value transaction is around tax, but I'm also hearing a
Sure.
desire to be more than that, at that seeing around the corner, operational entity. Uh, how
Totally.
do you restructure the sub S, the C, the international? What did I first hear it called? The Dutch sandwich.
Yeah.
Where you move the revenue from one country to the next, and all these tax treaties and whatnot. So
Yeah.
you've got that expertise.
Yeah. We do a lot of very nuanced strategies. I think one of the things that we spend a lot of time on is research and development for those types of things, like developing partnerships with other people and third parties that can help, so we can just be kind of, at minimum, be a very good educational resource for our clients. And we want to know all the strategies that are out there. Like, it goes back to what the leads say, right? Like, we don't want people coming to us with ideas. We want to be out in front of them, and kind of and being a partner in that respect.
Got it. Got it. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. What do you think, John?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to make sure that we get out there as part of a thought leadership, more than what we covered today?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I think that we're very we're very optimistic about, like, our model and, like, what we do, and but I don't think that it's like the answer, right? I think that, like, obviously, firms that have been doing this for years and years and years, and they're so successful, and I think there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, and I think this is just one way to do it, and hopefully we can prove it out at a larger scale. I think that's our goal. And
Okay.
we definitely want to be
What's
a resource to people.
let's put it out there. Uh, we can all kind of take metrics that we know about how firms work and kind of guess where you are. Here it is, 2024, almost 2025. What is
Yep.
Anomaly CPA going to look like in 2030?
2030. All right. So that's 6 years from
Oh,
now, or just
it's really more like 5.
5 years. Yeah. So, I think that we want to continue to grow at that 20% growth rate. I mean, I think it's hard. It is difficult to sustain, but I think we're starting to learn, what levers that are important to be able to do that. And 32 people now, right? Like, I would expect that to scale in that same way, right? I think we're going to continue to keep our foot on the gas in that respect. And and I
So let's
think,
let's get let's get
real.
specific. Let's get specific. Smart goals,
Sure.
specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time based. So 20% growth without doing the compounding is 6 team members per year. So you'll be doubled. You'll be
Yep.
from 30 to 60. Revenue
Right.
at a minimum will be doubled. Of
Right.
Well, that sounds like a fun goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lofty one, right? Like, I think we've been trying to, try to do this all organically too, right? Like, just through, the marketing funnels that we've started to build, and we think it's sustainable in that respect. So I think it is. It's a fun
Yeah.
goal. It's you learn a lot,
Yeah.
you take lumps, but you just got to keep moving forward.
Well, I promise. This is the last one.
Oh yeah.
Has private equity knocked on your door yet?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would consider it probably a light knock, but yeah, we have been. I think that they're all over the industry, right? I mean, I'm sure you've heard about it.
Hmm.
So, I think it's just more kind of seeing what we do, what we're about. I think there's obviously certain things that they're interested in, and just
Got it. You blanked out there. So let's start at private equity light knock,
sure,
and then
the light
let's
knock.
wrap it. Yep.
Cool. Um, you're gonna ask the question.
So I promise, John, this will be the last question. But have you had private equity knock on your door?
Yeah, I think I'd consider it a little bit more of a light knock, right? They're definitely not like knocking down the door, but I think that they're definitely they're acquiring quite a few accounting firms. I know that there's a big interest in the space. So
Hmm.
we've I think they're looking for information, just kind of learning about who we are and other firms that are similarly situated. So I would consider it a very light knock, but I think that they're certainly swarming the area for sure.
Yep, yep. Well, John, thanks so much. It's been great getting to know you. I look forward to further conversations, further episodes, because there's so much to unpack in the journey that you and Greg have started on. So again, thank you very much.
Yes, yes, I really appreciate the time and in talking about this. And yeah, we really believe in what we're doing, and we couldn't do it without our team. So we're super excited. So thank you again.